Dr. Taiwan Kim wiped sweat from his forehead. It had been a long day at his small vet clinic on the edge of New Seoul Colony. He had treated 10 pets today, 3 dogs with stomach problems, a cat with a broken leg, and 6 space hamsters with common cold. Normal stuff. Soo-jin, are we done for today? He called to his assistant. Soo-jin Park looked up from her desk. Yes, Dr. Kim. Last patient left 10 minutes ago. Taiwan smiled. Good. I'm hungry. Let's close up and... A loud alarm cut him off. Red lights flashed through the clinic. The emergency system rarely activated. What now? Taiwan groaned. The clinic's communication screen lit up. A stern military face appeared. Dr. Kim. This is Commander Do-hyun Kang of Military Special Unit 7. We have an emergency. We're coming to your clinic now. Before Taiwan could ask questions, the screen went dark. What was that about? Soo-jin asked, eyes wide. Taiwan shook his head. I don't know, but we better get ready. 5 minutes later, the ground shook as a military transport ship landed outside. The clinic's doors slid open with a hiss. 6 soldiers in heavy armor marched in. They carried something huge between them, something that moved and made low, angry sounds. The thing was covered by a special containment field that made it hard to see clearly, but Taiwan could make out black scales, sharp spines, and glowing red parts that pulsed like a heartbeat. The creature thrashed against its bonds. Get that into the secure room, now, barked a tall man who walked in behind the soldiers. The soldiers moved quickly, taking the creature into Taiwan's largest treatment room. They hooked its containment field to the room's power system. The tall man turned to Taiwan. Dr. Kim. I'm Commander Kang. Taiwan nodded slowly, his eyes still on the creature. What is that thing? That, said Kang with a cold smile, is a Viridian Night Stalker. Soo-jin gasped. Everyone in the colony knew about Night Stalkers. They were the monsters parents used to scare children into behaving. But they're not real, she whispered. Oh, they're very real, Kang said. This one was captured during a special mission. It's injured, and we need it alive. Taiwan finally pulled his eyes away from the creature. Why bring it to me? I'm just a vet for normal animals. Pets, farm animals. Not, whatever that is. Our military doctor tried to treat it, Kang said. His face tightened. He's dead now. So does the backup doctor. And you think I can do better? Taiwan asked in disbelief. Kang handed him a data tablet. You have unique experience with dangerous predator species from your time on Earth. You worked with Komodo dragons, saltwater crocodiles, and genetically enhanced guard animals. Those are nothing compared to this, Taiwan protested. You're all we've got, Kang said simply. The creature has plasma burns on its left side and a damaged tendril. Fix it. Commander, what exactly is a Night Stalker? Soo-jin asked, her voice shaking slightly. Kang's eyes turned hard. The deadliest apex predator in known space. Its neural toxin kills in seconds. Its skin can withstand direct artillery fire. It can think and plan. One Night Stalker wiped out an entire mining colony on Proxima B in less than a day. The creature let out a sound, part roar, part hiss, that made everyone in the room freeze. Why save it if it's so dangerous? Taiwan asked. Kang moved closer, lowering his voice. That's classified, Doctor, but let's just say this creature has military applications. Taiwan looked through the clear wall at the writhing mass of scales and glowing organs. His medical curiosity was already working, noticing blood patterns, movement limitations, signs of pain. If I refuse, he asked quietly. Kang smiled without warmth. That's not an option, Doctor. You have 48 hours to stabilize it. My men will stay to ensure security. He turned to leave, then stopped. Oh, and Doctor, don't get too close to the containment field. It can still spit toxin up to 3 meters. After Kang left, Soo-jin grabbed Taiwan's arm. This is insane. We can't treat that thing. Taiwan stared at the creature. It had stopped thrashing and seemed to be watching him with eyes like burning coals. We don't have a choice, he said softly. Let's get started. Taiwan didn't sleep that night. He stayed in his office, reading everything he could find about Viridian Night Stalkers. There wasn't much. Most files were blocked by military security. By morning, his eyes were red and his head hurt. But he had a plan. Sort of. This is crazy, Su-Jin said as she helped him prepare medical tools. No one has ever treated a Night Stalker before. Then we'll be the first, Taiwan said with more confidence than he felt. He looked through the clear wall at the creature. In the bright lights of the treatment room, he could see it better now. The Night Stalker was about the size of a small car. Its body was covered in black scales that seemed to absorb light. Red parts glowed between the scales. 6 long legs ended in claws sharp as knives. What looked like tentacles grew from its back. One of them was badly damaged, cut almost in half. The creature watched Taiwan with 4 glowing red eyes. It hadn't moved much since yesterday. Maybe it was too weak. How do we even start? Su-Jin asked. Taiwan pointed to screens showing the creature's body readings. See these patterns? They're not so different from Earth reptiles. Its heart rate is too high, temperature too low. It's in shock. 2 soldiers stood guard by the door. One of them, a young man named Jeho, spoke up. Doctor, do you know what they call that thing on the frontier worlds? Planet clearer, because one of them can clear a whole planet of people. Not helping. Soldier, Taiwan said. He tapped commands into the room's system. First, we need to make it warmer in there. And I need to get a closer look at those wounds. Sir, the commander said not to get close, the other soldier warned. I know what he said, Taiwan replied. But I can't treat it from here. He put on a protective suit. It wouldn't stop the Night Stalker's claws, but it might give some protection from its poison. Taiwan, please be careful, Su-Jin said quietly. He nodded and entered the treatment room. The Night Stalker's eyes followed him. Its body tensed. I'm going to help you, Taiwan said softly, not sure if it could understand. I need to check your wounds. He moved slowly, keeping his hands visible. The creature made a low rumbling sound, but didn't attack. When Taiwan was 3 steps away, the Night Stalker suddenly spat a stream of green liquid. It hit the wall just beside his head. The wall began to melt. Taiwan froze. His heart pounded in his chest. Doctor, get out of there, Jeho shouted, raising his weapon. No, Taiwan said. Don't shoot, it was just warning me. The creature could have hit him if it wanted to. It didn't. Taiwan took a deep breath and slowly raised his medical scanner. I'm just going to scan you from here. No touching. Ok. The Night Stalker watched him with those burning eyes. It made no more moves to attack. The scan results appeared on Taiwan's portable screen. The plasma burns were deep, affecting 3 layers of the creature's strange biology. The damaged tendril was even worse. This isn't good, Taiwan muttered. He backed slowly out of the room. Once outside, he took off his helmet and wiped sweat from his face. What did you learn? Su-Jin asked. It's badly hurt, but that's not all, Taiwan said, looking at his readings. There's something weird in its blood. Chemical markers I don't recognize. He worked through the day, testing treatments on samples of the creature's blood and tissue. By evening, he had created a healing gel that might help with the burns. Commander Kang returned as Taiwan was preparing the treatment. Progress report, Kang demanded. I've made a medication that should help heal the burns, Taiwan explained, but I need to apply it directly. Too dangerous, Kang said flatly. Then it won't get better, Taiwan replied. They stared at each other for a long moment. Finally, Kang nodded. Your funeral, doctor. But if you die, who treats my acid? I'm not planning to die. Taiwan said. Su-jin, prepare the sedative. Sedatives don't work on it, Kang warned. Regular ones don't, Taiwan agreed. But I've mixed something new, something that might work just enough to keep it calm. As night fell, Taiwan prepared to enter the treatment room again. The Night Stalker watched him through the glass. For a moment, Taiwan thought he saw something in those alien eyes. Not just hunger or anger. Intelligence. Taiwan stood at the door of the containment room, holding the container of healing gel. His heart beat fast, but his hands were steady. Remember, said the soldier named Jeho, if it attacks, drop to the floor. We'll shoot above you. Taiwan nodded. He took a deep breath and entered the room. The Night Stalker was awake. All four of its red eyes followed him. Its black scales seemed to shift and ripple. I'm going to help you, Taiwan said softly. This will make the burns feel better. He moved slowly, step by step. The creature made no move to attack. When he was about 2 meters away, he stopped and crouched down to appear smaller. I need to touch your side to put this medicine on, he explained, showing the container. It might feel cold at first. The Night Stalker made a clicking sound. Its damaged tendril twitched. Taiwan waited, letting the creature decide. After what felt like a very long time, the Night Stalker shifted its body. It moved its injured side toward Taiwan, just a little. Behind the glass wall, Su-jin gasped. Is it? Understanding him. Taiwan smiled. Good. Thank you, he said to the creature. He opened the container and slowly reached out. The moment his fingers touched the Night Stalker's scales, he felt a strange tingling. The scales were warm and smooth, not cold like he expected. He carefully spread the gel over the burned areas. The Night Stalker made a sound, almost like a sigh. Its glowing parts pulsed more slowly. It's working, Taiwan whispered. The pain is less. He worked for 10 minutes, covering all the burns with gel. The Night Stalker stayed perfectly still. When he finished, Taiwan backed away slowly. I'll come back tomorrow to check how it's healing, he told the creature. Outside the room, Su-jin looked amazed. That was incredible. It really seemed to understand you. I think it does, Taiwan said. These creatures are smart, much smarter than the military thinks. For the next 3 days, Taiwan treated the Night Stalker's burns. Each day, the creature allowed him to come closer more quickly. By the 4th day, it no longer showed signs of fear when he entered. The burns are healing well, Taiwan told Su-jin. But the damaged tendril is more complicated. I need to operate on it. Commander Kang was not happy about this plan. You want to perform surgery on a Night Stalker while it's awake. We can't safely sedate it, Taiwan explained. Its body processes drugs too quickly. But I think it will let me do it. Kang laughed without humor. You're insane, Doctor. Maybe, Taiwan admitted, but I've built some trust with it. That night, Taiwan stayed late in the clinic. He was tired but couldn't sleep. He sat in front of the glass wall, watching the Night Stalker. It watched him too. What are you thinking? He asked softly. What are you feeling? He played some gentle music on his tablet. The Night Stalker's glowing parts began to pulse in time with the beat. You like that? Taiwan smiled. Music is universal, I guess. He didn't notice when he fell asleep in his chair. He woke hours later with a start. Something had changed. The Night Stalker was pressed against the glass wall. Its glowing parts were pulsing in a steady pattern. Taiwan checked his medical screens and was shocked. The creature's body rhythms, its heart rate, breathing, even its brain waves, were synced perfectly with Taiwan's own. That's impossible, he whispered. He stood and moved closer to the glass. The Night Stalker raised one of its good tendrils and pressed it to the wall. Without thinking, Taiwan raised his hand and placed it against the glass, mirroring the creature. A feeling washed over him, not in words, but in sensations. Pain, confusion, loneliness. Then, something new. Hope. Tai-1 gasped and stepped back. The Night Stalker kept its tendril pressed to the glass. "Did you just communicate with me?" Tai-1 asked in wonder. The door opened and Su-Jin walked in, carrying coffee. She stopped when she saw them. "Tai-1, what's happening?" He turned to her, his eyes wide. "Something amazing, Su-Jin. I think it's trying to connect with me." The Night Stalker's eyes glowed brighter, as if to confirm his words. Tai-1 couldn't stop thinking about what had happened. The Night Stalker had somehow shared its feelings with him. This was big, really big. "I need to look deeper into its blood tests," he told Su-Jin the next morning. "Something isn't adding up." He studied the results again. The strange chemicals in the Night Stalker's blood bothered him. They weren't natural. "These look like lab markers," he said, pointing to his screen. "The kind used to track test subjects." Su-Jin leaned closer. "Are you saying this creature was part of an experiment?" Before Tai-1 could answer, Commander Kang walked in. He looked angry. "Why haven't you fixed the tendril yet?" Kang demanded. "It's been 5 days." "I'm working on it," Tai-1 said. "But I have questions first. Where did you really find this Night Stalker?" Kang's face hardened. "That's not your concern, Doctor." "It is if I'm treating it," Tai-1 insisted. "These blood markers show it's been in a lab before. This isn't a wild creature you caught. It escaped from somewhere, didn't it?" Kang stepped closer, his voice low and dangerous. "Listen carefully. Your job is to fix it, not ask questions. If you can't do that, I'll find someone who can." After Kang left, Su-Jin touched Tai-1's arm. "Be careful. The military doesn't like nosy people." "Too bad," Tai-1 said, "because I'm getting very nosy." That night, after the soldiers changed shifts, Su-Jin sneaked into the clinic's small computer room. She was good with technology. Better than most people knew. "I can get into their system," she whispered to Tai-1. "But not for long." "What are we looking for?" "Project files," Tai-1 said. "Anything about Night Stalkers or biological weapons." Su-Jin's fingers flew over the keyboard. After 10 tense minutes, she found something. "Project Thorn," she said. "That's the Night Stalker's code name." Tai-1 read the screen quickly. What he saw made him feel sick. "They didn't catch it in the wild," he said. "They've had it for over a year. It was taken from its home planet along with others for weapons research." Su-Jin scrolled down. "It says here that Night Stalkers live in groups, family units. This one escaped during a transfer between labs." "What happened to the others?" Tai-1 asked. Su-Jin's face went pale as she read more. "They're all dead, used up in experiments. So this is the last one." Tai-1 felt a deep sadness. "According to this, yes." Su-Jin quickly closed the files and erased their tracks in the system. The next morning, Tai-1 looked at the Night Stalker with new eyes. It wasn't just hurt. It was alone. The last of its kind. "I'm going to fix your tendril today," he told the creature softly. "But first, I want to try something." He placed his hand on the glass wall. After a moment, the Night Stalker moved forward and pressed a tendril against the other side. The same rush of feelings came, but clearer now. Pain. Loss. Something that felt like grief. "You know, don't you?" Tai-1 whispered. "You know you're the last one." He entered the containment room with his medical tools. For the first time, he didn't feel any fear. The Night Stalker watched him calmly. "I need to repair your tendril," Tai-1 explained. "It will hurt, but I'll be as gentle as I can." He worked for 2 hours, carefully fixing the damaged tendril. The Night Stalker stayed still the whole time, only making small sounds when the pain was bad. When he finished, Tai-1 put his tools down and looked into the creature's red eyes. "You're not what they say you are," he said quietly. "You're not just a weapon or a monster." The Night Stalker's glowing parts pulsed softly. It reached out with the newly fixed tendril and very gently touched Taiwan's hand. This time, the feeling that came was different. Gratitude. Trust. Taiwan made a decision then. He couldn't let the military take this creature back to a lab. Somehow, he had to help it escape. But how? As he left the containment room, Commander Kang was waiting. "Good work, Doctor," Kang said with a cold smile. "The transport ship arrives tomorrow. We're moving the asset to the main research facility." Taiwan felt a chill. "So soon? It's not fully healed yet." "Healed enough," Kang replied. "Your job is done." Taiwan looked back at the Night Stalker. Its eyes were fixed on him, as if it understood every word. Time was running out. Taiwan couldn't sleep that night. He kept thinking about the Night Stalker being taken back to a lab. The creature would be cut open, tested on, and eventually killed. He couldn't let that happen. He went to the clinic at midnight. Only one soldier was on guard duty, the young one called Jiho. "Late night, Doctor?" Jiho asked. "Just checking on my patient," Taiwan said with a tired smile. Inside the main room, the Night Stalker was awake. It moved to the glass wall when it saw Taiwan. "They're taking you away tomorrow," Taiwan said softly. "I don't know how to stop them." The creature pressed a tendril to the glass. Taiwan placed his hand against it and felt that strange connection again. But this time, there was something new. Images. He saw a place with tall purple trees and mist. Many Night Stalkers moved through the mist, their glowing parts lighting up the darkness. They weren't attacking or hunting. They were singing. The sounds they made created patterns of light that danced in the air. "Is that your home?" Taiwan whispered. "Your family." The images changed. Men in military uniforms. Cages. Pain. Taiwan pulled his hand away, breathing hard. "I'm sorry," he said. "I'm so sorry for what they did to you." The Night Stalker made a soft clicking sound. Its red eyes seemed dimmer now. Sad. Taiwan knew what he had to do. It was dangerous and probably stupid, but it was right. "I'm going to help you," he promised. Somehow. In the morning, Sujin arrived early. Taiwan pulled her into his office. "I need your help," he said. "We have to free the Night Stalker." Sujin's eyes went wide. "Are you crazy? That's treason. The military will put us in prison forever." "I know, but I can't let them take it back to that lab." He told her about the connection, the images he had seen. "It showed me its home, its family. These creatures aren't monsters, Sujin. They're intelligent beings with a culture." Sujin looked torn. "Even if I believed you, how would we even do it? There are guards everywhere." "I have a plan," Taiwan said, "but it's risky." Before he could explain more, Commander Kang arrived with 4 armed soldiers. "Pack up your equipment, Doctor," Kang ordered. "The transport ship lands in 1 hour." Taiwan nodded. "I need to do one final check on the Night Stalker first." "Make it quick," Kang said. Taiwan entered the containment room. The Night Stalker watched him closely. "I need to draw some blood," Taiwan explained, holding up a needle. "It's part of the release process." He moved close to the creature and pretended to take a blood sample. What he really did was whisper very quietly, "When I come back, be ready to run." The Night Stalker's glowing parts pulsed once, brightly. It understood. Back in his office, Taiwan quickly mixed chemicals. Sujin watched nervously. "What are you making?" she asked. "A small flash bomb," he answered. "It won't hurt anyone, but it will cause confusion." He also prepared a syringe with a clear liquid. "And that?" "A sedative. For the guard." Sujin looked scared but determined. "I'll help. Tell me what to do." Taiwan smiled at her. "Thank you. I need you to create a power problem in the main system. Can you do that?" She nodded. "Give me 5 minutes." Exactly 5 minutes later, the lights flickered and went out. The backup power came on, but the containment field around the Night Stalker's room weakened. In the confusion, Taiwan moved quickly. He approached Jiho, who was looking at the power panel. "What's happening?" Jaiho asked. "Power surge," Tadwan said, and quickly injected the sedative into Jaiho's neck. The young soldier collapsed. "Sorry," Tadwan whispered. He ran to the containment room and opened the door. The Night Stalker was already standing ready. "Come with me," Taiwan said. Quickly. The creature moved fast for its size. It followed Taiwan through the dark hallway. They almost reached the back exit when Commander Kang appeared. "Stop right there." Kang raised his weapon. Taiwan threw his flash bomb. A bright light filled the hallway, and a loud bang echoed off the walls. Kang fell back, temporarily blinded. "Run!" Taiwan shouted to the Night Stalker. Together, they burst through the back door into the night air of New Seoul Colony. Freedom was just ahead, but so was danger. Taiwan and the Night Stalker ran through the dark streets of New Seoul Colony. The night air was cold. Few people were outside, but those who were screamed and ran when they saw the black creature with glowing red parts. "We need to find somewhere to hide," Taiwan said, breathing hard. "They'll have the whole colony looking for us soon." The Night Stalker made a clicking sound and suddenly changed direction. It seemed to know where to go. Taiwan followed, trusting the creature. Behind them, alarms began to sound. Loud announcements warned people to stay inside. Dangerous alien escaped. Military operation in progress. They reached the edge of the colony where large pipes carried water and waste. The Night Stalker pointed to a broken section of pipe with one tendril. "In there?" Taiwan asked. The creature nodded, a very human gesture that surprised him. They squeezed into the pipe and followed it deep under the colony. It was dark and wet, but the Night Stalker's glowing parts provided enough light to see. "How did you know about this place?" Taiwan asked. The creature touched his hand with a tendril. Again, Taiwan saw images. The Night Stalker exploring these tunnels during nights when the containment field was weakened for maintenance. "You've been planning your escape," Taiwan realized. "You just needed help." They came to a large underground space where several pipes met. It was dry and hidden. They could rest here. Taiwan sat down, feeling the weight of what he had done. "I'm a criminal now," he said softly. "I can never go back." The Night Stalker settled beside him. Its body was warm, and it made a gentle humming sound that was somehow comforting. Suddenly, Taiwan's pocket comm device buzzed. He almost threw it away, thinking it could be traced, but then he saw it was Su-Jin. He answered. "Are you safe?" she whispered. "For now," he said. "What's happening there?" "It's bad," Su-Jin said. "Commander Kang is furious. He's ordered a full colony search. They're checking every building, every street." "Did they hurt you?" Taiwan asked, worried. "No. They think I was just as surprised as everyone else. But Taiwan, they're bringing in special hunters with tracking animals. You need to get off-world fast." "How?" Taiwan asked. "Every ship will be washed." "I might have a way," Su-Jin said. "My cousin works at the cargo port. There's a supply ship leaving for the outer colonies tonight. If you can get to loading dock B7 in 2 hours, I think he can hide you." "Thank you," Taiwan said. "You're risking everything for us." "Just be careful," Su-Jin replied. And Taiwan, was it worth it? He looked at the Night Stalker, who was watching him with those intelligent red eyes. "Yes," he said. "It was." After ending the call, Taiwan explained the plan to the Night Stalker. "We need to reach the spaceport without being seen." The creature seemed to understand. It gestured to the pipes again. "These go near the spaceport?" Taiwan asked. The Night Stalker nodded again. They moved through the underground tunnels for over an hour. Sometimes they had to crawl through tight spaces. The Night Stalker always went first, checking for danger. Finally, they reached a grate that opened near the cargo area of the spaceport. Taiwan peeked out. The area was busy with workers loading ships. Military guards stood at the main entrances, checking everyone. Loading Dock B7, Ta-1 whispered, spotting it across the open area. But how do we get there without being seen? You're a bit noticeable. The Night Stalker made a soft sound that almost seemed like a laugh. Then it did something amazing. Its black scales shifted, changing color to match the gray metal of the pipes. Its glowing red parts dimmed until they were barely visible. You can camouflage, Ta-1 gasped. That's incredible. The creature nudged him forward. Together, they slipped out from the grate and moved between cargo containers. The Night Stalker stayed close to Ta-1, its body now looking like a strange shadow. They were halfway to Dock B7 when a spotlight swept over the area. A voice called out through speakers. Attention all spaceport workers. This is Commander Kang. We are looking for Dr. Ta-1 Kim and a dangerous alien creature. Report any sightings immediately. Ta-1 froze. The Night Stalker pulled him behind a large container just as soldiers came around the corner. Their escape route was blocked. Time was running out. Ta-1 and the Night Stalker pressed themselves against the cargo container. 3 soldiers walked by, only meters away. They carried special scanners and weapons. We'll never make it to Dock B7, Ta-1 whispered. There are too many soldiers. The Night Stalker touched his arm. Its body was still camouflaged to look gray like the containers. It pointed up. The roof of the containers. Ta-1 asked, You want us to go over? The creature nodded. It turned and began to climb the side of the container using its claws. At the top, it reached down with a tendril to help Ta-1. Ta-1 grabbed the tendril and felt himself being lifted easily. The Night Stalker was very strong. Once on top, they could see across the whole cargo area. Dock B7 was about 10 containers away. Good idea, Ta-1 said. But we need to be quiet. They moved from container to container, keeping low. The Night Stalker moved gracefully despite its size. Ta-1 followed more slowly. They were getting close to Dock B7 when Ta-1's foot slipped. He fell hard on the metal roof of the container. The sound echoed in the night air. What was that? A soldier called out. Check the top of those containers. Run, Ta-1 told the Night Stalker. Save yourself. But the creature didn't leave. Instead, it helped Ta-1 up and they ran together, jumping from container to container. Lights flashed around them. An alarm sounded. There they are. Someone shouted. Weapons fired. Energy blasts hit the containers near them. They reached the last container before Dock B7. But soldiers were everywhere now. There was no way to get to the ship. We're trapped, Ta-1 said, breathing hard. Suddenly, a large cargo lifter machine roared to life below them. Its mechanical arm rose up toward their container. At the controls was a young man who looked a little like Su-Jin. Jump on, the man shouted. I'm Su-Jin's cousin. Hurry. Without hesitation, the Night Stalker picked up Ta-1 and leaped onto the lifter's arm. The machine sped away toward Dock B7, crashing through smaller containers. Soldiers fired at them, but the Night Stalker shielded Ta-1 with its body. Energy blasts hit its scales but seemed to cause no damage. They reached the cargo ship. The loading door was open. Su-Jin stood there, waving frantically. Get in. The ship leaves in 2 minutes. The Night Stalker jumped from the lifter to the ship, still carrying Ta-1. They landed inside the cargo hold. Su-Jin's cousin drove the lifter away, drawing the soldiers after him. You made it, Su-Jin said, hugging Ta-1. Then she looked at the Night Stalker with fear and wonder. It really protected you. Yes, Ta-1 said. It's been protecting me all along. The ship's engines started up. A crew member Ta-1 didn't know closed the cargo door and locked it. Su-Jin told me what happened. The crew member said, I'm Captain Min. I don't like the military much, especially Kang. That man has caused too much pain. Thank you for helping us, Ta-1 said. But you're risking your ship, your crew. Captain Min shrugged. Some things are worth the risk. Now hide in those supply crates. Will be searched before takeoff. Taiwan and the Night Stalker climbed into large crates used for machine parts. Su Jin closed the lids just as the cargo door opened again. Commander Kang's voice filled the hold. Search every container. They were seen heading this way. Taiwan held his breath. He could hear soldiers moving around, opening containers. They were getting closer. Suddenly, a loud alarm sounded. Emergency launch sequence initiated, a computer voice announced. All non-crew personnel must leave immediately. Doors closing in 30 seconds. What's happening? Kang demanded. System malfunction, sir, Captain Min said calmly. Ship's computer is starting emergency launch. It happens sometimes with these old cargo ships. You need to leave now, or you'll be taken off-world. Kang cursed. Everyone out. We'll catch them at the next port. Taiwan heard the soldiers running out. The cargo door closed with a final thud. The ship shuddered as engines powered up. Captain Min opened their crates. It worked. We're launching. The emergency launch. Su Jin asked. Captain Min smiled. No real emergency. Just a trick to get them off the ship. Through a small window, Taiwan watched New Seoul Colony shrink below them. He was leaving everything behind. His clinic, his life. But as the Night Stalker stood beside him, watching the stars grow brighter, he knew he had made the right choice. They were free. For now. The cargo ship traveled through space for 2 days. Captain Min kept Taiwan and the Night Stalker hidden in a small storage room. Su Jin brought them food and news. The military has put out alerts at every port, she told them. Your face is on all the screens, Taiwan. They're calling you a traitor. Taiwan sighed. I guess I am, technically. The Night Stalker made a soft clicking sound. It had stayed close to Taiwan the whole time. Its scales had returned to their natural black color, and the red parts glowed softly in the dim room. Where are we going? Taiwan asked. Captain Min is taking us to Outer Rim Station. Su Jin explained. It's not controlled by Earth forces. We should be safe there. That night, while Su Jin was sleeping, Taiwan sat with the Night Stalker. The creature seemed restless. What's wrong? He asked. Are you in pain? The Night Stalker touched his hand with a tendril. The now familiar connection formed, but this time it was stronger. Taiwan saw not just images but felt emotions too. He saw stars and patterns he didn't recognize, a distant planet with 3 moons, a feeling of longing so strong it made his chest hurt. You're home, he whispered. You want to go home. The Night Stalker's eyes glowed brighter. It showed him more. Other Night Stalkers moving through misty forests. Strange structures made of crystal that caught light and broke it into patterns. A sense of community, of belonging. But then the images changed. Taiwan saw Earth ships arriving. Weapons firing. Night Stalkers falling. Others being captured. Taken away. They attack your world, Taiwan said, feeling sick. They took you for experiments. The last image was the most surprising. It showed Taiwan himself from the Night Stalker's perspective. He was surrounded by a soft blue light in the creature's vision. There was a feeling attached to this image. Trust, gratitude, connection. When the vision ended, Taiwan was crying. I'm so sorry for what my people did to yours. The Night Stalker gently wiped a tear from his face with a tendril. Then it did something amazing. It made sounds, not clicks or hisses, but sounds that almost formed words. F for end, it seemed to say. Taiwan stared in shock. You can speak. The creature made a motion like a shrug. L learning. This is incredible, Taiwan said. You're learning human speech. S slow, the Night Stalker said. It seemed to struggle with the sounds. That's okay, Taiwan assured it. Take your time. The next morning, Taiwan told Su Jin what had happened. She didn't believe him at first, until the Night Stalker spoke to her too. Hello. Su Jin's eyes went wide. How is this possible? I think our mental connection is helping it learn, Taiwan explained. It's been studying me, studying humans, all this time. Captain Min was even more surprised when he visited them. A talking night stalker. Now I've seen everything. It needs a name. Sujin suggested. We can't just keep calling it the Night Stalker. Taiwan looked at the creature. What do you want to be called? The Night Stalker was quiet for a moment. Then it spoke. Am my kind. Name. Sound like. It made a beautiful trilling noise that no human could copy. That's your name? Taiwan asked. Yes, but humans can call. Dawn. Dawn? Sujin repeated. Why that name? New day. New start. The creature. Dawn. Explained simply. Captain Min checked his navigation screen. We'll reach Outer Rim Station tomorrow. From there, you could find transport to almost anywhere. Taiwan looked at Dawn. I know where we need to go. We need to find your home. Dawn's eyes glowed brighter. Yes, but dangerous. Military there. We'll find a way, Taiwan promised. You helped me. Now I'll help you get home. That night, as the ship moved quietly through space, an alarm suddenly blared through the corridors. Captain Min's voice came over the speakers. Military patrol ship detected. Everyone to emergency stations. Taiwan and Dawn looked at each other. Had they been found? Was it Commander Kang? Their brief moment of peace was over. The hunt was on again. Hide in the secret compartment, Captain Min shouted as he ran into their room. It's a military patrol. Taiwan and Dawn quickly moved to a hidden space behind a false wall. Sujin closed it just as soldiers boarded the ship. Through a small crack, Taiwan could see Commander Kang himself walk into the cargo hold. Search everything, Kang ordered. They're on this ship. I can feel it. For an hour, they heard soldiers moving around, opening containers, checking rooms. Twice, someone walked right past their hiding spot. Taiwan hardly dared to breathe. Finally, the soldiers left. Captain Min waited 10 minutes before opening the hidden compartment. They're gone, he said, but they put a tracker on our ship. We can't go to Outer Rim Station now. They'll be waiting. What do we do? Sujin asked. Dawn stepped forward. I can help. Its speech was getting better each day. I know. Coordinates. My home. But we don't have enough fuel to go that far, Captain Min said. Dawn touched the ship's navigation screen with a tendril. Not far. Look. The screen showed a star system only one jump away, a small planet circled by 3 moons. That's your home? Taiwan asked in surprise. It's so close to human space. Hidden, Dawn explained. Special. Clouds. Ships can't see. Military found. By accident. Captain Min checked the fuel levels. We can make it, but once we're there, we're stuck until we can refuel. My people will help, Dawn promised. They changed course immediately. The ship moved away from the planned route to Outer Rim Station and headed toward Dawn's homeworld. After 16 hours of tense travel, they arrived. The planet was beautiful, covered in purple forests and blue oceans, but thick clouds surrounded it, making it hard to see from space. Approach from night side, Dawn instructed. Follow my directions. Captain Min guided the ship carefully. As they entered the atmosphere, Dawn made a series of complex clicking and trilling sounds. What are you doing? Taiwan asked. Calling. My people. Telling them. Friends coming. They landed in a clearing in a vast purple forest. The air was misty, and strange sounds came from all around. Taiwan felt nervous as the ship's door opened, but Dawn moved confidently. Come. Safe now. Taiwan, Sujin, and Captain Min followed Dawn into the mist. Soon, glowing red lights appeared all around them. More night stalkers, dozens of them. There are so many, Sujin whispered. I thought they were almost extinct. Military, thought same, Dawn said. Good hiding. The other night stalkers approached slowly. They made trilling sounds to Dawn, who answered in the same language. One larger Night Stalker came forward and touched tendrils with Dawn. After a long moment, the large Night Stalker turned to Taiwan. Its voice was deeper than Dawn's but clear. "You helped Dawn. Saved from lab. We thank you." Taiwan bowed his head. "I'm sorry for what humans did to your people." "Not all humans. Same," the leader said. "You show this." For the next few days, Taiwan and his friends stayed with the Night Stalkers. They learned amazing things about these creatures. They weren't just intelligent. They were a highly advanced species. They had technology, art, music, medicine, all different from humans, but in some ways more advanced. "Why hide from humans?" Su Jin asked Dawn. "Watched many species. Meet humans," Dawn explained. "Those who show technology get conquered or copied. Better to be monster, scary monster, left alone." On their last night, the Night Stalker leader called them to a meeting. "Kang will not stop," it said. "Will find us, eventually." "What can we do?" Taiwan asked. "We ask for help," the leader said. "You will go to Earth leaders, tell truth, show this." It gave Taiwan a small crystal. When he touched it, it showed complete records of what the military had done to the Night Stalkers. Evidence of crimes. "Will they listen?" Captain Min asked doubtfully. "Some will," Taiwan said. "And that's a start." 3 days later, their ship, now refueled by the Night Stalkers' advanced technology, landed on Earth. News cameras surrounded them as Taiwan, Sujin, Captain Min, and Dawn stepped out. People screamed at the sight of Dawn, but the Night Stalker stood tall and spoke clearly for all to hear. "I come, in peace, to talk, to share truth." It was the beginning of a new chapter, not just for Dawn and Taiwan, but for both their species. And it had all started with one foolish human vet who decided to treat the deadliest alien beast, never knowing it would change everything. The end.